any event as all-encompassing as World War I is bound to spark some public opinion. One of the things that happened in the United States was that a wave of nativism struck the country. This is anti-immigrant sentiment, feelings against immigrants. And German citizens are especially targeted because, of course, they are the main aggressors in World War I. So the government reacts by passing the Espionage and Sedition Acts. This is much like the Alien and Sedition Acts of 1798. And basically it stated that a person could be fined or jailed for interfering with war effort or saying anything disloyal or profane about government or the war effort. Eugene Debs, leader of the Socialist Party, actually went to prison for 10 years for violating this act. A lot of the Espionage and Sedition Act was a result of a large number of radical political thinkers coming into this country from other countries, people who were influenced by socialism and communism, and who had strong anti-war feelings. One of the most significant court cases during this time was the case of Shank versus United States in the Supreme Court. Shank was one of the leaders of the Socialist Party, and he was distributing pamphlets that encouraged men to disobey their draft. So case went to court, and this case legalized the fact that certain First Amendment rights could be taken away during times of war and crisis. This is the whole idea of you can't shout fire in a crowded theater. So the case of Shank versus United States upholds the Espionage and Sedition Acts. We also see a great deal of social change. We see what's called the Great Migration, and this was a movement of African Americans from the South to the North. And they moved for several reasons. One, there were of course many new jobs available that were left by men who went off to fight in the war. Also, by moving north, they were able to escape some of the blatant Jim Crow laws that enforced segregation. Also, women, of course, filled many of the jobs left by men. And their contributions to the war effort are recognized by President Wilson. And this, of course, led to the passage of the 19th Amendment, which said that women could vote. It recognized women as a significant political force. One of the more tragic things that happened during this time period was that the outbreak of the flu killed vast numbers of people. World War I brought disease to a new level because men were fighting in incredibly unsanitary and primitive conditions, and large groups of people were living in crowded conditions, living in very filthy conditions, and this made them very susceptible to disease. So the influenza outbreak of 1918 spread all over the world. Wasn't just confined to the United States and Europe. 1/4 of the U.S., 1 in 4, fell victim, and 500,000 died as a result of the flu. As many as 40 million died worldwide. This had huge effects not only on families, but also in a larger sense affected the U.S. economy. Businesses had to close, and as it says here, cities even ran out of caskets because so many people were dying so rapidly. This marks the end of World War I on the home front. In the next series of videos, we'll discuss how President Wilson dealt with the issue of war and peace.